Hey guys, it's me. So, like a lot of Sonic fans, I was pretty excited to hear that Sonic would have a spot of showcasing content on June 5th at Summer Games Fest. And like most people, I was definitely blindsided by some of the stuff that they managed to show off. At the same time though, I do feel I have some of my own opinions that I'd like to share about them, and they aren't exactly too positive. So, let's get right to it. Okay, without being around the bush, I'm not a huge fan of this game's crossovers. Don't worry, I'm not one of those guys. My annoyance comes from a different area of the game. See, for context, during Sonic Racing Crossworlds showcase at Summer Games Fest, they showed off a bunch of new content. They showed off like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Avatar, which had both been set up ever since like SpongeBob's reveal, and had been leaked well before SpongeBob was even revealed to be in the game, at least officially.
What are you talking about?
And alongside them, we got the reveal that Sonic Racing Crossworlds will be doing a cross promotion alongside Evangelion and Godzilla, with each of them getting their own dedicated racetrack. Now, I know what you're thinking. Al, what's the problem with that? Is your steak too juicy and your lobster too buttery? Al's analysis, more like Al's really anal about this. Well, first off, Mr. Strawman, I can't eat fish, so technically you're saying I should be happy that I'm dying of food poisoning. Which I am. That lobster is really well made. Also, kudos to you for the wordplay there. I really gotta commend the effort. But in all seriousness, my biggest gripe isn't with the crossovers themselves, but how they're being implemented into the game, as they basically become the only new content we're getting. Like I said earlier, whenever a new crossover character is added into Sonic Racing Crossworlds, they come with a singular racetrack that is then added to one of the crossover Grand Prix, which all consist of crossover racetracks. With my biggest gripe being how bare bones all of it feels. Like when Mario Kart 8 introduced its DLC characters, they each came with like 2 entire Grand Prix that they had, which not only included the crossover racetrack, but also several new and returning tracks from previous games. And while the Booster Course Pass in 8 Deluxe took a while to start adding characters, we still got 2 entire Grand Prix with each wave. This isn't like a fighting game, where you can excuse the lack of new content due to the amount of time it would take to not only program a new moveset for a character, but also due to the fact that the character may have a completely different playstyle from everyone else. This is a genre where characters can have slightly different stats, like weight class and such, but will relatively play the same to each other. Never mind the fact that a racing game's scoring system is based on how well you did in multiple races, meaning that it's easier to go through a lot of the content that the game has to offer in a shorter period of time. And as a result, the content that is there will get much more repetitive, much faster. And that's even ignoring the fact that if you're being drip fed all this content, you're likely to burn through it faster because there's less of it over these longer periods. And if we want to get really bleak, there's a chance that somebody playing the game just won't like the new content that they have to offer already. And so they'll wait even longer on the chance that there's content they will like. Like personally, I don't own any of the Minecraft or SpongeBob DLC because I'm just not interested in it. And that makes up 2/3 of the crossover Grand Prix. To coincide with the series' 35th anniversary, they added Classic Sonic as a free update character to the game. In fact, they added him the same day as his reveal trailer happened.
That's it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
What a load of shit.
This is the 35th anniversary. Like, you should have an influx of new content or such. I know this sounds kind of greedy, but like, Sonic Racing Crossworlds already started off at a disadvantage because it has 8 courses less than something like Mario Kart's base course roster has. I know we're all tired of Green Hill, Chemical Plant, and Sky Sanctuary, but you're telling me you couldn't make like an anniversary Grand Prix to release alongside Classic Sonic? It's even more annoying since something that Radical Soda pointed out in his video on Crossworlds is that a lot of the racetracks in the game are actually based off of more recent Sonic games that they would have an easier time pulling the assets from. And guess what 3 stages were the source of major uproar when it was revealed that they would be used in Sonic Frontiers? You're fraud, Sega! Especially annoying since this is such a huge milestone, and it feels like it's kind of being lightly brushed over compared to the non-Sega related crossovers. Which brings me to those, unfortunately, and the fact that it feels like it's trying to become Fortnite in a way. Like, one of the biggest things about Fortnite beyond the dances is the fact that there are so many different IPs that are brought into the game every other like month or so, with one of the game's biggest features being the humor that comes from seeing all these different characters together. But the thing is that where Fortnite was much more of a blank slate to begin with, Sonic Racing Crossworlds is a spin-off from an established IP. The crossovers are never really shown off in the game's marketing unless you're actively searching for it. And while I understand that it's likely done in an attempt to get more eyes on the game, it runs the risk of desensitizing the audience to it, which in my opinion kind of cheapens the appeal of a Sonic crossover because it means that they'll do literally anything. Like, the only reason I was excited when Pac-Man was added to the game was because I was already a fan of his and would have done a lot of questionable things to see him and Sonic together. At least before Smash Bros came along. Not only that, but it makes it a lot harder for the game to stand on its own 2 feet, because it's constantly relying on the appeal of something or someone else, and in turn makes the developers seem a lot less confident in the product that they're putting out. And you want to know the worst part about this? A lot of this could have been avoided. You see, alongside the bigger DLC packs, we also have smaller updates that are released in between, each of them coming with a crossover character from another Sega property. And why this is annoying is because this is where you could have squeezed in some of that extra content. So while you're waiting for like Aang or the Ninja Turtles to come out, you can have the other smaller tracks, preferably Sonic related stuff, that releases alongside that to keep you interested in the game. Which honestly, I still am. I mean, yeah, for as much as I've been ranting and raving about what I would change, I still enjoy the game in its current form. It's mostly just been me talking about things that I feel no one else has been willing to talk about yet. More importantly, most of the stuff I've been talking about really is just my personal opinion. Cause if we're being honest, this ain't the worst crossover somebody's done with SpongeBob. Or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Or DC Comics. Oh god. But while I'm having that existential crisis, I want to hand things over to you guys. What do you like about Sonic Racing Crossworlds, and what would you change about the game personally? Do you have similar problems to me, or do you have your own issues? Sorry about the lack of new content recently. I've been pretty burnt out from trying to work on a big project that really didn't come to fruition, which led to me making the concept art video. In fact, this video was originally meant to go up the same week as Sonic's 35th anniversary, but I wound up missing that deadline because I was having trouble figuring out what to say. And then when I did, my microphone stopped working. So yeah, it's been kind of rough. But with that, I want you to like, share, and subscribe today to join the A-list. And have a great day. Bye.